Next week, we're going to be celebrating Veterans Day on Tuesday, and to that point, I'd like to call on Betty Angotti to join us here up front. Betty's had a wonderfully blessed moment, for lack of a better term here, that she and her family experienced here recently, and I'd like to invite her to share that with us.
Good morning. My story begins in 1942, when my oldest brother was in the service. He was called into the service. He was drafted into the Air Force. That was 1942. He got married and had a child within the next 2 years. 1944, my mother gets the letter. He was killed at age 24 in Japan. Years go by, my mother passed away, my siblings all passed away. I'm the only one of 10, I'm the youngest of 10 and the only one that knew my brother. About 5 years ago, we got a letter in the mail. My sister was alive then. She and I and my nephew received a letter, and we thought it was a scam. It said something about looking up bodies and this and that, and he said, it's a scam, they want money. So the first letter went in the garbage. The second letter went in the garbage a month later. The third letter, we said, maybe this is for real. So my nephew checked into it, and he had gone to many meetings and everything. And we find out that it was true. There was a gentleman whose grandfather was in the same squadron as my brother, and he pushed congressmen and everyone to write letters and to get some funding to look up what happened. Well, what happened was in April, I got a message, actually a 3-hour session on the phone from Washington, from 2 gentlemen from the Army, and they told us the whole story. Then they put it in a nice booklet, so we have it at home. What happened was my brother flew a B-29 bomber. He was just an observer on this flight. He wasn't really working, as they say, and the plane was shot down in Tokyo. A month later, he was captured and put in this Tokyo prison. There's a picture on the screen here somewhere. About a month later, the Americans bombed that building. There were no survivors. Okay, so my brother's body was with all the rest of the people there. How it happened was this gentleman, like I say, wanted to find out, and so they dug into it very deeply, and the remains of some of the men were taken to the Philippines, and they were kind of starting to sort them out. Well, they ended up taking them to Hawaii, to Honolulu, where they do this extensive, checking everything out. My sister and I were asked to send our DNA, and through our DNA, there was a positive identification between my DNA and my brother's bones. There were very few bones, but they counted. Well, there was only, out of the 61 men that they were looking there for, only 3 of them were identified. My brother was one of them. So now we have to decide where do we want to bury him. Well, we chose Arlington Cemetery. 80 of my family members, partial family members, went to Washington on October 4th, and we buried him in Arlington with all the honors that a hero would get, with the flags folded, which they gave to me. I got his Purple Heart. I got other papers and memorabilia that I treasure. And we had a very nice ceremony, American Hero Ceremony. He was my brother, and he was my hero. Thank you for listening.
Betty, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Indeed, an amazing story. And as we celebrate Veterans Day this coming Tuesday, let us be reminded of those who have died, those who have been sacrificed for our country.